Fly fishers are supposed to be the best problem solvers in the world. In this episode, I'm going to explain you why I am coming across as a little bit aggressive and arrogant to a few fly casting instructors, and also what exactly I'm fighting for and why I am so anti-fragile with this. But before I do this, I would like to read you a comment that was very delightful for me to read, to share a couple of joyful things, and that comment is from Tony Larkfly. 208 is the area code for Idaho, US. After a bad cast, turn around and smile at your guide. Let him know you know it was bad. I've always suggested to my guide that they should fish also. It increases the odds. Smile in brackets. At 84, your videos keep me on my lawn. Thanks. Brother Tony, beautiful, thank you very much. That's the greatest compliment I can get, and that you don't know what that means for me, that you are practicing your casting at 84, trying new methods. Shout out to you, boy. Man, awesome. That is shockingly good. And you know what I like on that comment too? He lets the guide fish and then he says, it increases the odds. Fly fishing is rarely considered a team sport. Let me tell you something. What I consider in the meantime the most difficult thing in the sport is to teach an old dog a new trick. Imagine you would have come up with a method that you are, after 30 years, 100%, there's no doubt in my mind that this method is 10 times faster to teach and to learn people fly casting. And imagine you take that method and you go to a fly casting instructor and tell him, hey, here, look at this. I think I have a method found that teaches people 10 times faster to cast and also makes them far more effective and more effortless casters. What do you think happens if you do that? We discuss that in a minute, but for now let's look into my new intro first quickly here that I made.
It is time!
I don't care what time it is.
Effortless cast. Always have an effortless cast. Always have an effortless cast.
Climb up a banana here. Up the bananas and let your
Hands up right now. I'd like you to cast with me.
A, the teachings are generally not working, else casting instructors wouldn't stand on a casting pool showing you how to cast and then say, but it doesn't work for 99% of the people. It's coming from deep down in my trousers and you just gotta go practice. Yeah, there's no doubt about that you have to practice your casting. But the way how you practice your casting, do you do that from a state from out of control that only gets you more worried and only more indoctrinized, or do you do that with a self-evaluating, with a self-monitoring and with a self-feedbacking method from the PRFC that will teach you without any bias, without any filter, that will show you very clearly exactly where your motions, movements are not harmonic. Harmony is something that you do not find within the teachings of casting at all, as well as symmetry. You also do not find much about symmetry. Now, guess what happens if you go to such a casting instructor? Let me take, I don't know, whatever, masting. Take a masting caster instructor. Don't go to the lower ones, go to a high up one. Who do you think is the highest up fly casting instructor on this planet? Leave a comment. Let me know so I can go there too and ask him. But within the brotherhood of fly fishing, what do you think if you go to a master casting instructor and say to him, here, try that fixed line anchor and have a look at it. Try that out for me, another brother from another mother from the fly fishing hood, and also put a rattle on your rod and check that out for your students, because if you are a proper teacher in the sport, your goal is to make your students better than yourself. The Taoists already say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When the student is truly ready, the teacher will disappear. The tools and the methods from the PRFC, they will replace the fly casting teacher because they make him unnecessary. And that is exactly the reason, in my opinion. Yeah, you try it for yourself. Just go to such a person and ask him or her to try out what I'm throwing up here, to try out this method that is, in my opinion, 10 times faster. Try it for yourself just. And even if you have nothing to do with fly casting instructors or fly casting instruction, I ask you from a reciprocity point of view, can you help me please to try that method to find out if it is really 10 times faster? Because the way I was thinking so far is, I carry that out to the casting instructors, to the multiplicators in the sport, because that information, that knowledge is so important that kind of every fly fisher in the world needs that. Do you think I got any support from the casting instruction people? Again, try it out for yourself and see, and report back what happens if you do go and introduce these methods to the people. This channel here is the only place in the internet where you get the most advanced information about the fly casting game, and where you get focused on knowledge and understanding so that you can make your own decisions and that you can discern better what is really going on in this sport here. Fly casting tuition has no authority. There is no one you can really turn to and that you can really trust, because 80% of the casting tuition out there is made up from country bumpkins that just wanted to make a living and look good for themselves in front of you casting. What you have to realize in the classic teachings, in the single loop teachings, they are not made for the student to become better than the teachers. They are only designed to look up to the teacher and to hope to become one day as good as the teacher. But I tell you this, with the tools of the PRFC, you will develop on a whole different level. Because what you do first is, you first gain feedback and feeling over the system and control, and then you build up on it. And I know that will work 10 times faster. And the comments like from Dario Manfro and from Surf Skagit and from a couple of other people, from Aurelius and from the boy from Africa, for example, they show exactly that if you try these things out, and by the way, now with all fairness, fly casting instructors are very unteamy. They don't like team sport. Everybody cooks their own soup and they have their own method for themselves, yeah. And it's very hard to teach an old dog a new trick, but a few are picking up on the methods and they also see exactly that they are deadly. And if you just want to know how deadly they are, grab a rod, grab a line, grab a couple of different lines and different weights, go out and practice. Fixed line anchor, rattle trigger, ribbons, pendulum. I got to make a video about the pendulum. I'm waiting for a good, bright, nice day to do that too. But as I said already, this channel here is the only channel where you find that information, because the other thing is, if you go to these casting instructors and show them the methods. You see what happens then, and if they are adapted and maybe modified and used, and you also can see then what kind of reaction you trigger in there. Are you for the development of the sport or against the development of the sport? Imagine there was a method that would indeed teach people 10 times faster to cast and make it 10 times easier to enter the sport. Would you want that? 10 times more fly fishers suddenly? You come to the best pool and there's suddenly 10 times more fly fishers? You know the place where we are coming from, the cave where we crawled out of some couple 100,000 years ago. That was a highly competitive cave. It was a highly competitive environment. We need to talk about that on another day, but the lack of authority in this game is clearly seen already from that episode where I put up the wave spay and the issue of Graham Hart trying to introduce that to the FFI. And I also know that I totally piss a lot of people here mega off because I'm always poking the finger in the hole and say, and I have a reason for doing that, because I have no interest to look good in front of you and pose about like fucking slime and assworth. It's not my interest. I don't want to be your new casting fucking god. You go out and practice for yourself. Make that small commitment. And I'm asking you politely, I do nothing but ask you politely to go out and try these methods in the sense of the future of the sport. Whether you like me or not, I don't give a fuck about that. But what you should care about and what is your responsibility to do if you care about that sport. And if you really do want your students to become better than yourself, do you want that? Then it is, in my opinion, your veritable duty to check out these methods. And I also don't care, because I know these methods are going to make it anyway. Whether you support them as a flycasting instructor or not. But one thing is for sure, they will run over the classic teachings like the UFC runs over boxing. And then annex boxing again. And I'm sorry that I come across sometimes as a little bit arrogant and aggressive, but that is only a reaction that is triggered in me due to unprofessionalism on the side of so-called professional fly casting instructors in the game. Casting instructors have built up that structure of belief and also these structures of teaching that don't even allow for a self-evaluation, which is in itself already a shame. Look deeper. What are the two biggest problems reoccurring pattern in fly casting, in your own casting, and in teaching people casting? They are always the same things. And there's a method to the madness. And there's a theory that will help you tremendously to get better and to control your line and rod system. That system and that theory is called control theory. Fly casting and shooting are related. I told you that already a couple of times. And I give you here a little secret tip, and that is this one. If you want to know more about control, do not look in the direction of classic fly casting instruction. It will not deliver that information. If you want to know more about control, you want to be looking in the direction of the most controlled people on that planet. And that is, in my opinion, on the one side, the spiritual masters, and on the other side, the shooters, the snipers, people from the military, and people where life is on the line, hunters. Look up a boy called Joel Turner, Shot IQ. He is teaching people how to keep shit together, even in extreme situations. And that is what Flycasting never does, because it is not fit for purpose in case there comes a disturbance. Look around on the shows in fly fishing, what's going on there. Look around at the age profile of them people. Like, you hardly find someone who is even younger than me there. And the rest is only old fucks repeating old shit since fucking 50 years. Due to the fact that this channel here is the only channel that deals scientifically with the true problems in fly casting. And I thank you very much for being here with me and braving this out for me. And I hope you can stick it out that I kind of rant about sometimes. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you're similar and sometimes you just need to let it out. But if I see comments like people people aged 84, going out on a lawn practice and casting, and I say, yeah, keep going. And I tell you something else. That 84-year-old Tony is going to be able to teach someone who starts casting fresh 10 times faster than any casting instructor in the world. Casting instruction as it is failing terribly. And it proves that over and over again. And I don't know how long fucking casting instructors are ducking the growth and the forward bringing of the sport. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Hey, and even if you find out that the methods I develop are not better, then you would be confirmed that the classic teachings are the best that is out there. Go out there, show the methods to the casting instructors themselves and see and find out for yourself what happens. And don't be afraid, because if you practice with these tools, your casting will become 10 times mightier, probably even than my casting, because I am not a great caster. See, I am actually the proof of the pudding myself, because I fell through 3 of them casting exams, though I put in 1,000,000 hours of practice. And the reason for that, and the only reason for that is, and I know that now because I developed the other tools, the only reason for that is that the teachings are flawed, faulty and ineffective. Let's identify the causes here of the problems. And there are different levels to the problems. One is the teaching of people. One is the structures of belief in fly fishing. One is the level of casting instruction and casting instructors and the way how they behave. Are the fly fishers, are the teachers in fly fishing still a team? Or is everybody just cooking their own soup and telling their own shit? Which is okay. What is not okay is bullying and avoiding and banning and ghosting new methods that could be more effective. Think about that for a while. We keep here focusing on knowledge and understanding, and we keep also seeking feedback from whoever. I guarantee you, if you spend 3 months with the tools of the positive reinforcement fly casting, you're as good as any FFI casting instructor out there. Easy, if not much better. Plus, you have the skill set to teach that to people, because the methods of the PRFC are self-evaluating, self-monitoring, and self-learning. This here is a self-learned, the autotelic approach that is allowing for a self-evaluation, and that will help you much faster than any other method before. Don't be put off by my person. As I told you, the PRFC tools, they're not here to make me look good. They're here to make you look good. And if you go out, make your decision, find it out for yourself, and also help us grow the sport. Fly fishing is the most beautiful sport in the world, and fly fishing has the best problem solvers in the sport in the world too. And we need to solve problems in this world. I talk about this in another episode. It's going to get too long here now, but For example, if you look at that salmon farming problem, we are all against farmed salmon and don't eat farmed salmon and fill the cages and hey, support this dude here, by the way, Don Staniford, very important, go in this channel and like and subscribe to that channel there. But what I'm saying is, there's only a few warriors who really try to protect and to do something for that. But imagine this. Imagine we could tenfold the amount of fly fishers and we suddenly have 10 times more brilliant problem solvers, plus we have 10 times more people who suddenly don't even consider eating farmed salmon anymore. So what I suggest to you is another approach here, and that is produce more fly fishers. Because the more fly fishers we have on this planet, the more fly fishers, the more hunters, and the more gardeners we have on that planet, the more problems will be solved in a sustainable way and in a way so that we can still stay, and your children too, on this planet for another while. So the farmed salmon problem is, in my opinion, the easiest solved by just producing more fly fishers. And these more fly fishers, they look after clean water, clean processes, and then salmon can come back in the rivers. And we all can fillet and grill it, the odd fish again. Because catch and release is not the solution to this problem. More fly fishers are. And I know if you're a competitive fly fisher, this is a little bit hard to understand at first, because you do not want 10 other fly fishers standing in the same pool. You want to just fish. But imagine that development going on, and fly fishers improving the rivers more and more. That open up more water for more anglers to fish more, and it'll have a positive effect on the sport. By the way, sometimes you hear that fly fishers go through their certain development stage. At the beginning you want to catch a fish at all, then you want to catch as many fish as possible, then you want to catch a big fish, and then you want to catch the difficult fish. And I tell you something else. Once you get to a very, very high level, you get lesser and lesser interested in fish catching and more interested in fish protecting. And the further you go on up that development ladder, the more important the cast becomes to you. Because think about this, you're just whacking it out, and you catch the odd fish, and the only pleasure out of that is that odd fish. And the rest is often struggle and frustration and fighting the wind and stuff. But if you do not catch anything, what do you have left then? What do you have left to enjoy if you catch nothing? That is why I think it is far more valuable to enjoy every cast as if it was your last, and to learn how to enjoy casting, how to feel it. And you can only do that if you can direct feedback you during the cast, and if you're not stuck to the old single loop learning teachings of the game. Thank you very much for watching this, and believe me, you should not follow always the societal, what is it called? Let me tell you this. Don't always follow the fly fishing societal, the structures of belief of how we teach and how we persevere, no. How we perceive. The ways how we teach and how we perceive fly casting and fly fishing can be taught 10 times more effective. And I thank you very much for watching again, tuning in again to the episode of this Coolcaster podcast. And I know for sure that you will have mega fun once you go out practice these methods and forget about all and let go. And go with the flow. Thank you very much for watching. Please do not forget, we don't own the water owns us.
It is time!
I don't care what time it
Have
is.
an effortless cast. Always have an effortless cast. Always have an effortless
We're going to
cast.
climb up a banana here. Up the bananas and let your
Hands up right now. I'd like you to cast with me.